Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 4.
There's a war brewing between West Fargo Public Schools and the city of Horace over special assessments. The district says its property is being charged too much, meaning you can pay more in taxes. Valley News team's Joshua Piguero joins us live in front of Horace City Hall, where they're having a meeting right now. Joshua?
Callie, I can tell you that there's a long line behind me for the Horace City Council meeting where they're going to discuss a special assessment on West Fargo Public Schools. Now, normally this is held inside City Hall, but they expected a lot of people, and due to also social distancing, they wanted to hold it in the shed, and there's currently a line outside, as you can see, of people waiting to get inside. Now, I'm going to just break down a little bit what's at issue. As you mentioned, West Fargo Public Schools is calling a special assessment on 3 of its buildings unfair. Now, two of those are the Heritage Middle School as well as a Horace High School, and that's why they're in there right now. They're saying that they're being charged 150% of the base value that they're being assessed. They're calling it unfair. They're saying that they have to burden the brunt of the costs that went into that area, but the city is pushing back. What they're saying is that the school decided to build on a field that had a gravel road, and they also had to invest in a roundabout, and they also say that this should not have come as a surprise to the school district, because they said this was part of the agreement when they first decided to build all 3 buildings.
West Fargo, portions of Fargo, Harwood, Riley's Acres, anyone who sends a student to West Fargo Public Schools inside our district boundaries does have to pay a portion of our special assessment costs.
Callie, again, as you can see, it looks like the overflow is going into outside. People just eager to hear what's going to happen with their taxes, because whatever decision is made, it's either residents of Horace are going to bear the brunt, or it's going to be spread out towards the West Fargo School District, which, as you just heard, encompasses several areas. So I'm going to give you more information at 6 and let you know what went down and what's at stake. Reporting live in Horace, Josh Piguero, Valley News Live.
Thanks, Joshua. We look forward to it. And Fargo leaders will be asked to think about having a mask mandate for the city. That means face masks will be required in public settings where people aren't able to socially distance. Commissioner John Strand put the idea on next week's City Commission agenda. The policy would be similar to New York's and would not include any criminal or civil penalties. The City Commission will talk about the potential mandate at its meeting on Monday. And a man accused of murder at a North Fargo apartment complex last winter is set to go to trial. Daryl Peterson is charged with 1 count of murder for killing Dwayne Darling with a piece of furniture. Documents say that while he was being driven to the jail, Peterson told the officer that he should be charged. His trial will start next year in March. And a man was charged with a DUI following a rollover crash in Kindred. 52-year-old Scott Heath and a friend were driving down 52nd Street when he lost control of his car. Both men were taken to the hospital and are going to be okay. And in a tweet this morning, the North Dakota Highway Patrol says the seatbelts saved the men's lives. And a Fargo man is facing federal charges after court documents say he tried to derail a train earlier this year. 19-year-old Skylar Goodman is charged with violence against a railroad carrier. That's after he tried derailing a BNSF railway train on May 7th. He's also facing felony charges in Cass County for terrorizing with a deadly weapon and domestic violence. Well, that's a top look at your 4 at 4. Now let's check out the weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hey, Hutch.
Hey, Callie, as we look off to the west there along Interstate 94 from our studios here in South Fargo, we see some dark clouds out there. Well, we do have a few sprinkles showing up on the radar as we head into our evening, but not all of that is actually making its way down to the ground. It is cool in northern Minnesota. We have low 50s there. The rest of us in southeast North Dakota in the lower 60s. There is a look at that radar. It's showing a batch of sprinkle activity working into northern Clearwater County and heading toward Bemidji at this hour. Again, not all of this is making its way down to the ground as we've checked area cameras and are not seeing wet roads. So that's good. Tonight, our main concern, freezing conditions once again. In fact, it looks mighty chilly in Roseau County, northern parts of Beltrami County, and as well as northern Clearwater County, a freeze warning in effect. Here in Fargo, we'll stay above freezing. Temperatures will be slipping down through the 50s and into the 40s so by bedtime. So have that jacket handy on your late evening walk with the puppy. Temperatures in the low to mid 40s in Grand Forks as we head towards bedtime as well. So you'll definitely notice that crispness to the air. Hey, Callie, I don't know if you like warming trends, but I'll have all the details on how quickly we rebound here in a few minutes.
Oh yes, I want to hear about the warming trends.
Well, I have that for you.
Thanks so much,
You
Hutch.
bet.
And let's take a look at those COVID-19 numbers. In Minnesota, the Department of Health is reporting 931 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 9 new deaths linked to the illness. In North Dakota, there are 394 new cases, along with 5 more deaths in the state. The death toll now sits at 182. And some good news that has to do with COVID-19. After 5 months in the hospital battling the illness, 65-year-old Karen Haroldson is finally going home. Back in May, we spoke with Haroldsen's family, and they told us that she got COVID-19 while staying at the Moorhead Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center. She spent the next few months at Sanford Hospital in Fargo. She says she needed a ventilator to breathe, but today she got to leave the hospital. And attention ice cream and food lovers, time's ticking for you to get to the Tasty Freeze in Moorhead. The business says between construction, the break-in, and COVID, they need to close shop a month early. September 27th marks their last day of the season as they fix damages they found from the break-in that happened in July.
One thing that's been extremely great for us is the support from the community. I left work one night and I saw in Moorhead Fantastic that there was a post saying, make sure you're supporting Tasty Freeze. They're slowing down and trying to recover still.
They say they're going to try and stay true to their tradition of keeping ice cream half off on their last day. And a man is in jail for crashing into a vehicle and then running away. A police canine found Cody Haller in a nearby neighborhood where he was hiding by a garage. Police say he was arrested for possession of meth paraphernalia, and fleeing from the scene of an injury accident. The driver hit by Haller allegedly suffered minor neck pain. And in today's Healthier Me, recent data suggests COVID-19 patients who are obese may have a harder time fighting off the virus, leading to higher rates of hospitalization and death. It's concerning news as a new report reveals obesity rates among Americans have spiked over the last decade, and they're continuing to climb. Sarah Doloff has the story.
An expanding epidemic in the U.S. A new report revealing the adult obesity rate is now more than 42%, the highest it's ever been. 12 states have an obesity rate of more than 35%.
That's extremely alarming in terms of its medical implications.
And that rate likely still climbing, say health experts with the Trust for America's Health, the organization that compiled the report. The pandemic has plunged millions of families into economic and food insecurity and reduced opportunities for physical activity.
Obesity is a very serious health condition. It's not just about how you look or how your clothes fit. It really puts your health at significant risk.
While obesity has long been linked to chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease, emerging evidence ties it to more severe COVID-19 outcomes, including higher rates in hospitalization and mortality.
It's truly life and death now, and the number of people who are dying of obesity-related causes has significantly increased with COVID.
The report calling for changes, making it easier and more affordable to buy nutritious food, creating more spaces for exercise and play, and increasing federal funding for proven programs.
It's important to take personal steps and steps with your own family to reduce that risk, but it's also very important to talk to your elected officials and say to them, we need more help.
Reforms to reverse growing rates of obesity, improving the health of millions.
Mississippi and Oklahoma had the highest rates of obesity in the country. Washington, D.C. and Colorado had the lowest. And Hurricane Sally battered the Gulf Coast, but many are still feeling its effects. A look at how the National Guard is carrying out hundreds of rescue missions is next on Valley News Live at 4.
And we're dealing with a few clouds on this Thursday evening. I'll have details on if you'll see any rain from them, and we'll talk about a warming trend. All of that coming up right after this.